How's everyone today? My name is William A. Thomas, president of William A. Thomas and Associates, coming to you guys with a real quick video. And we are actually just going in further on a series that we were doing in regards to how to increase your credit score. Now, before we had actually talked about options for if you have no credit or if you have bad credit and you're trying to actually get a credit card to be able to help establish credit. Those situations, we looked at options for if you have a little bit of money and if you don't have any money. To be able to see those, go into the description box and I'll have part 1 and 2. The links will actually be there available for you to be able to look at. But let's move on. Now, this is actually going to get into, because a lot of people are in a situation where they may have had credit or good credit in the past, but they're in a bad situation. So we're going to move in on a couple of things to be able to help those people. But we're going to start off on something that's really important for everyone, okay? What I want you to do, whenever you pause this video and go to this website, altogether, annualcreditreport.com. Once again, that's annualcreditreport.com. Don't go to some other site. If there's anything talking about money on the initial reports, and that's not it. Annualcreditreport.com was actually a site put together a few years ago. The U.S. government wanted to make a way for people to be able to get their credit reports a whole lot faster. You were entitled for some time to be able to get access to your credit report, but before, what you would have to do is you would have to pretty much send a request in the mail. So let's talk about this, because on there, you want to be able to see what is actually there. And annualcreditreport.com, which this isn't one of the, like, I know that there are a lot of sites out there, okay, which I'm not going to name any, but there are some that they'll say there's like a free trial, 7 days, and you put your credit card in, they're going to only authorize $1, or they might not authorize anything. Whatever it ends up being. I'm not talking about one of those type of sites. This is something that, once again, is recommended by the United States federal government. And typically what they did was they gave you access to your credit report annually, hence why it's called annualcreditreport.com. And you can get separate access to each of the 3 major credit bureaus, which are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Now, before, what you had to do was, well, not that you had to, but one of the beneficial things to do, since most things are usually reported across all 3 credit bureaus. Some things are not. Some things might actually go to 2. Some things might actually just go to 1. But you could usually kind of have a safeguard by saying, okay, I want to be able to keep close contact with my credit reporting stuff. And if you don't want to pay money for some type of service, then what you would have did was you would have staggered it out. So there's 12 months in a year. And if you were actually, there's only 3 credit reporting agencies. So most people, what they would do is they would pull one of the major bureaus every 4 months. So in April, if it were January, in April, I might pull TransUnion. And then 3 months later, I'm pulling Equifax. And 3 months after that, I'm going to pull Experian. So that's how that kind of worked out. Now, it's a whole lot different, because what they did was, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they made it to where you can actually get access to this information once a week. So that's huge. Because here's what, so it says on there: during the COVID-19 pandemic, accessing your credit is important. That's why Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are continuing to offer free weekly online credit reports. Now, at the time of this recording, it's currently July 21st, 2021. I don't know how long it's going to actually allow this, but this is definitely a great thing, because during the COVID-19 pandemic, okay, there were a lot of people that were afforded the ability to work from home. There were a lot of people who lost their job. There were a lot of people who unfortunately are not here, but there are also a lot of people who were looking for different ways to be able to make money. And some of them were great. A lot of people actually started new businesses. There were probably more new businesses created during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic than most other years. But here's the caveat in regards to that. If there are people looking for ways to make legal money, then that means that there are also people looking for ways to make illegal money. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of fraudsters have gotten really clever with different ways to be able to commit fraud as well as identity theft. And there are different ways that they're doing it now. So that's why during this time, having access to your credit report regularly is definitely important. And now what I would say is more important is if you can have daily updates. Right now, getting weekly online credit reports, that's okay. That's being offered by annualcreditreport.com. And that's a whole lot better than, once a year. Keep that in mind. So you are able to do that. The only thing is you have to initialize it. And if you are looking for a resource where you can have access to, updates to changes to your credit on a daily basis, I'll be sure to include that in the comments somewhere. That way, you can have access to that. But let's get into this. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that was actually created by Congress. And here's what it does, okay? This is the law that regulates the way credit reporting agencies can collect, access, use, and share the data that they collect in your consumer reports. There are some positive things that actually came out of this. The mission of it was consumer protection, because if you probably have experienced it before, everything isn't always accurate. If you go to a McDonald's drive-thru and you order 3 items, you may or may not have an accurate thing. If you, and this is with anything can be inaccurate. It's not just a matter of McDonald's. I don't want anyone to think that I'm just singling out McDonald's, because McDonald's has helped me out during some crucial times whenever the shake machine is up. But anyway, so what you want to do is you want to know that everything on your credit report is accurate, because you can actually be getting a negative report for something that shouldn't be negative. So here's what the Fair Credit Reporting Act did. It allowed you to be able to go on and truthfully, you can dispute any item on your credit report. You should be disputing items that are inaccurate or wrong or that don't belong there. If you go on there, you can actually, from the annualcreditreport.com, it actually has an option to where you can do it online. Now, the mailing option is there. And they have that available on there also. You can actually mail a letter to Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax. And if there is something that's inaccurate, wrong, or should not be there, then I would definitely encourage to do that as soon as possible. Don't wait. It's very easy. But the online thing is really, really easy. It made it convenient. I've used it before in the past, and it was really great. And with that, whenever you do that, the agencies that are reporting to the credit bureaus, they have a fixed amount of time that they have to be able to respond back and say, to basically verify whether it is actually accurate or whether it's something that is not. If they don't within their allotted amount of time, then their option is it'll actually get removed off of the credit report. And you would think, well, this doesn't happen that often. It happens a lot. And not all the time, but it happens a lot, because you have situations where there could be a reporting error. You have situations where there could be something that's too old that was supposed to be removed, maybe after the 7.5 year mark. There's stuff that may not be yours. Maybe you have a similar name to a family member. Maybe you have a family member that just wanted to use your name. Maybe you have a non-family member that wanted to use your name. Either way, these are all examples of inaccurate transactions that you want to have removed, that, either shouldn't be there, they're inaccurate, or, they, whatever the reason, it shouldn't be there. And some people, they procrastinate on this type of stuff, because in the past, when you had to mail everything in, a lot of people, they procrastinated on mailing stuff for years. That's why the rebate companies offer the mail-in rebates, because they know you're not going to mail anything in, because most people are procrastinators. So, when you do that and you possibly have the option of getting some things removed, and if that happens, it ends up affecting your credit score, and hopefully in a positive way. So I would really, recommend to get on that site as soon as possible and work on removing inaccurate information, and hopefully that'll result in a higher credit score. We'll actually be going into some other options and things that you can do, but this is a great place really to start. The only reason it wasn't mentioned up front is because, I wanted some people to be able to have something they could do right now. Don't just analyze. And a lot of times people have analysis paralysis. So they go and they're printing out these credit reports, and they're just sitting there looking at them and looking at them and looking at them and doing nothing. So the other things are just something you can get started, but this is something that you want to end up doing. So until the next video, that's a little bit of food for thought, and I'll let you do the dishes. Have a good day.